Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, our group will present about incorporation of companies according to Companies Act 2016. Our company name is LOTUS LAGENDA and this is our group member. And my name is Khairulanwar bin Rosli. For the first slide, about introduction and company background. And the name of our company is LOTUS LAGENDA. This is our address of the company, office phone number, fact number, and this is our email, admin@lotuslegenda.com. Our company type is limited by share, and the main activity of our company is provide contractor for home construction, renovation, and landscaping work. Next point is flow chart or process to form a company private limited by share. The first process is name search and application of name. And the second process is lodgement of application to incorporate the company. After that, incorporation fee, verification of incorporation, and lastly, post-incorporation. For name search and application of name, firstly, a name search must be made to ensure that the proposed name is available. And after we check the name available, we must do a reservation. To do a reservation, the applicant must complete the information for the name of the company, and the company will be charged RM50 for each name applied. For lodgement of application, first, under Section 14 Subsection 1 of Companies Act 2016, the applicant must complete the information required as follows. First, the proposed name of company, the status of private or public company, the proposed type of business, the address of registered office, the business address, the complete detail of director and promoter, and lastly, declaration form from the director or promoter. Next, declaration of compliance. The declaration should be made by the individual who is responsible for the incorporation. And lodgement of application also need to additional document. First, a copy of consent letter from the corporate body named as the member of the company, a copy of certificate of director qualification if required, a consent letter from the relevant agency if any. For incorporation fee, and if a company limited by share, the incorporation fee is RM1000. For company limited by guarantee, the incorporation fee RM3000 will be charged. For verification of incorporation, if the registrar is satisfied that all information provided is complete and complied with the required procedure, a notice of approval and registration will be issued. A certificate of incorporation will only be issued by CCM or SSM upon request together with the prescribed fee. And this is shown under Section 17. Lastly, for the post-incorporation process, the company shall appoint a company secretary within 30 days after incorporation, and the company secretary have to be registered with SSM and possess a valid practicing certificate issued by SSM. If required by the company, it may file the constitution of the company after the incorporation of the company. That is for post-incorporation.
The first form that must be fulfilled by a company is in Section 27, Subsection 1 and 4, Application and Reservation for Availability of Names. In accordance Company Act 2016, with Section 27, Subsection 1, requires an applicant to apply and confirm the availability of the proposed company name with the registrar. And if the proposed company name is available, the registrar will reserve the name for a period of 30 days from the date of lodgement of application, and the fee for reservation name of company is only RM50. Even after the registration, a company may be directed by the registrar to change the company's name if he has a reasonable grounds to believe that such name should not be registered. Is stated in Section 29 Company Act 2016, and the company only has 60 days period to comply with the registrar's direction. As an example, our company filled form that needed application and reservation for the availability of names in Section 27, subsection 1 and 4, where we choose our company name as Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad. Why we use Sendirian Berhad? It because our company type is a private limited by share. After the registrar confirmed the availability of our company name is available, we must pay a fee for the application and reservation of company names for RM50 only. And our proposed name, Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad, will be reserved for incorporation for a period of 30 days.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is SITI KHADIJAH AMANI, metric number 1172279. In this part, I will explain about the form in Section 14 in Companies Act 2016. In Section 14, a person who desires to form a company shall apply for incorporation to the registrar using the form application for registration of a company. A company shall not be formed for any unlawful purpose. The application for incorporation under this section shall include a statement by every person who desires to form a company containing the following particulars, which is the name of the proposed company, the status of whether the company is private or public, the nature of business, the proposed address of the registered office, the name identification and nationality. Next, in the case of a company limited by shares, the details of class and number of shares to be taken by a member. Any other information as the registrar may require. The application for incorporation shall be accompanied by a statement from each promoter or director confirming consent to act as a promoter or to his appointment as a director, and that he is not disqualified under this act to act as a promoter or a director. Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad has filled all the requirements required in this Section 14 form. This is the most important form for a company establishment.
Next, the form that must be included in incorporation of the company is in Section 15, Registration for Incorporation. Company Act 2016 introduced a form for incorporation in Section 15 if the registrar is satisfied that the requirement to the application for incorporation is complied with, provides that open adherence to the procedure and the payment of prescribed fee for registration of company limited by share are RM1,000. The payment must be paid at the time of lodgement of the document. After that, Registrar of Companies will designate a registration number to the company and issue the notice of registration in the form and manner as the registrar may determine. As an example, our company Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad also complete the application for company registration and made the payment for a prescribed fees for RM1,000 because our company type is a private limited by share. After making the payment of the prescribed fees, Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad will obtain the registration number of the company and a notice of registration in the form and manner may determine from the Registrar of Companies.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AQILAH binti ROKASAH with metric number 1172264. For our company, Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad, we are applying a form in Section 201, which it is a form of declaration by a person before appointment as director or by a promoter before incorporation of corporation. A statutory declaration must be signed by the directors and shareholders in Section 201 before they can register a company. In Section 201 stipulate that a person should not be appointed as a director of a company unless he has consented in writing to be a director and make a declaration using form declaration by person before appointment as director that he is not qualified from being appointed or holding office as a director of a company under the Act. That's all in Section 201. Thank you.
For Section 17, Certificate of Incorporation, upon an application by a company and on payment of a prescribed fee, the registrar may issue to the company a certificate of incorporation in the form and manner as the registrar may determine. This is our certificate for incorporation under Section 17.
Other than that, Section 50, Subsection 1, Register of Member also must be included in incorporation of the company. According to Company Act 2016, Section 50, Subsection 1, where every company shall keep a register of its member and record in the register. First, the names, address, identification number, nationality, and also any other relevant information, in particular of the members. 2. In the case of a company having a share capital, a statement of the share held by each member. 3. The date at which the name of each person was entered in the register as a member. 4. The date at which any person who ceased to be a member during the previous 7 years. And the last one, in the case of a company having a share capital, in the date of every allotment of shares to members and the number of shares comprised in each allotment. As an example, Lotus Legenda Sdn Bhd was followed. Section 50 were to keep a register of all the information of the member at the Lotus Legenda Sdn Bhd and record it in the register. If they did not register their member, they will default a penalty as stated in Section 50, Subsection 4.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name AZRA binti SAADON, my matric number 117226. Today, I will to present about Section 58 and 236 Subsection 2. Our company, Lotus Legenda Sdn Bhd, has met the requirement required by the Companies Commission of Malaysia in the appointment of our company secretary from the Act provided. Accordingly, in accordance with the Section 236 Subsection 2, the appointment of the first secretary is made within 30 days from the date of incorporation of the company, and the company will submit notice of appointment of first company secretary to the registrar within 40 days from the dates of the appointment under Section 58 of the Company Act 2016. It's very important for a company to ensure that Section 236 Subsection 3 form is very important to fill out when appointing a new company secretary, because with this form can determine whether the appointed company secretary get to meet the criteria and qualification as a company secretary or not qualified, and as mentioned in the Companies Act 2016. Lotus Legenda Sdn Bhd has fulfilled the Companies Act under Section 236 Section 3, requiring the Companies Commission of Malaysia, which is the declaration by the person before appointment as secretary, which is been provided in the Companies Act 2016. Thank you.
Okay, for this part, it is about Section 32 in Companies Act 2016. In Section 32, a company may adopt a constitution for the company, and the adoption shall be by way of special resolution. The constitution of a company has no effect to the extent that it contravenes or is inconsistent with the provisions of this Act. The constitution shall be binding on the company, its directors, and its members. The company shall submit form lodgement of constitution with the registrar within 30 days from the adoption of a constitution. The company and every officer who commit an offence and shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 50,000 ringgit. In the case of a continuing offence, to a further fine not exceeding 500 ringgit for each day during which the offence continues after conviction. Lotus Legenda Sdn Bhd has filled all the requirements required in this Section 32 form.
Okay, next slide is related statutory document that must be have in a company. The first is register of the director, manager and secretaries under Section 57, register of members under Section 50, and register of debenture holder under Section 60, and lastly register of director shareholding, debenture and interest under Section 59. That's all.
Lastly, the conclusion for this incorporation company is a company limited by shares should maintain transparency in its dealings, make necessary disclosures of material events in all their filings before the stock exchange and in their communications with the shareholders. Also, a listing is not mandatory on the exchange. However, a company may choose to list to provide liquidity to its shareholders and greater access to capital markets. Lotus Legenda Sendirian Berhad needs to fill in and submit all the required forms before setting up a company. All required forms must be filled in correctly and there will be no fraud on the information provided. Any offence or fraud found will be subject to legal action immediately. Process to form a company is not an easy thing. The information required must also be true in accordance with the standards set in each required form. Standard procedures for incorporation of private limited companies Sendirian Berhad also played an important role before the commencement of the company. Every standard that needs to be known should be in line with the establishment of the company. That's all from us. Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.